You hear your own voice on a video and something feels wrong. It sounds thinner, higher, almost like a stranger borrowed your mouth. Your first instinct is to blame the microphone, but the real answer is far stranger than bad audio equipment. You have never actually heard your own voice the way everyone else hears it. Not once, not ever. Until the moment technology could record it back to you, every human who ever lived died without knowing what they truly sounded like. Think about that for a second. You know exactly what your face looks like. Mirrors have existed for thousands of years. You have seen your own reflection more times than you could count. But your voice? That one slipped through history almost completely hidden from you. And the reason has nothing to do with vanity or self-awareness. It comes down to basic physics happening inside your own skull. When you speak, sound travels to your ears in two separate paths at the same time. The first path is the one everyone else uses to hear you. Your vocal cords vibrate, sound waves push through the air, and those waves enter your ear canal exactly like any other outside noise. That is air conduction, and it is the only version of your voice the rest of the world ever receives. But you have a second path, one nobody else shares. As your vocal cords vibrate, that vibration also travels directly through the bones and tissue of your skull straight to your inner ear. This is called bone conduction, and it delivers sound in a completely different way than air does. Here is the part that changes everything. Bone conducts low frequencies more efficiently than air does. So the version of your voice traveling through your skull carries extra bass, extra depth, extra weight that the air-conducted version simply does not have. Your brain blends both signals together in real time, and the result is a voice that sounds fuller, richer, and lower than what a microphone actually captures. When you hear a recording, you are hearing only the air-conducted signal. No bone conduction, no internal bass boost, just the thin, unfiltered version that has been reaching everyone else's ears the entire time you were speaking. So which version is the real you? Uncomfortable as it sounds, the recording is closer to the truth. That thin, slightly awkward voice on your phone is roughly what your coworkers, your friends, and your family have been hearing all along. The rich, warm voice you imagine in your head has partly been an illusion generated by your own bones. Researchers have studied this phenomenon for decades under a term called the voice confrontation effect, first explored in detail by psychologist Phil Holtzman in the 1960s. Holtzman found that most people react to hearing their recorded voice with genuine unease, sometimes even mild distress, because the sound clashes so sharply with their internal expectation of self. Why would evolution wire your brain to expect a voice that isn't accurate? It likely was not designed for accuracy at all. It was designed for speed and stability. Your brain needs a consistent internal model of who you are, and a voice that shifts unpredictably every time you spoke would be cognitively expensive to track. So your nervous system quietly smooths the signal, blending bone and air conduction into one stable, familiar sound, even if that sound is not what the rest of the world receives. But there is a deeper layer here, one that goes beyond simple bone physics. Psychologist Silke Pohlmann, who studies the emotional content of voices, has shown that people extract enormous amounts of information from vocal tone within milliseconds. Confidence, trustworthiness, even competence, judged almost instantly based on pitch and cadence alone. Your voice is not just sound, it is a constant involuntary broadcast of social signals, and you are the one person on the planet who has never fully heard your own broadcast. That mismatch matters more than you might expect. A landmark study by Susan Holliday found that when people repeatedly hear their recorded voice, the negative reaction fades over time. The strangeness is not permanent. It is simply unfamiliarity, and unfamiliarity is one of the most correctable feelings your brain can experience. Consider what that means for something as ordinary as a voicemail greeting. You cringe listening to it because you are hearing an accurate signal collide with a distorted memory. Everyone else who hears that same voicemail feels nothing unusual at all. To them, it just sounds like you, because it is the only version of you they have ever known. Now here is where the story becomes stranger. This mismatch is not limited to your voice. Neuroscientist Manos Tsakiris has spent years researching how the brain constructs a sense of self using internal signals that never quite match external reality. Your heartbeat feels different from the inside than a stethoscope reveals it. Your face, seen only in mirrors and photos, is a reversed or flattened version of what others see moving in 3 dimensions. Your voice, shaped by bone conduction, is warmer in your head than in anyone else's ears. Your entire sense of self may be built from a series of small distortions, each one useful, each one slightly wrong. So why do you never notice these differences in daily life? Because your brain prioritizes consistency over precision. A perfectly accurate self-model would require enormous processing power for very little practical benefit. Evolution favored a version of you that feels stable and coherent, even if certain details drift from objective reality. This is why the first time you hear a recording of your own voice can feel almost like meeting a stranger who happens to share your name. There's a strange kind of vulnerability in this. For your entire life, you have believed one particular sound belonged to you, more intimately than almost anything else. And it turns out that sound was partly manufactured by your own skull, an acoustic illusion so convincing you never once questioned it. But there is comfort buried inside this discovery too. Everyone experiences this exact same gap. Every human alive has an internal voice slightly warmer, slightly deeper, slightly more comforting than what a microphone reveals. You are not broken. You are not uniquely unfortunate. You are simply human, running the same ancient audio trick that every person before you has quietly run without ever knowing it. Think about what this reveals about identity more broadly. If something as fundamental as your own voice can be partially wrong for your entire life, how many other quiet distortions shape the way you experience yourself? Your memories shift each time you recall them. Your perception of your own face skews younger or more familiar than photographs show. Your sense of your own personality often lags behind how much you have actually changed. None of this means your identity is fake. It means your identity has always been an approximation, stitched together from imperfect internal signals, refined just enough to keep you moving confidently through the world. The next time you hear your recorded voice and instinctively want to look away, pause instead. That moment is not a flaw in the recording. It is one of the rare instances where you get to hear yourself the way everyone else always has, stripped of the private acoustic warmth your own skull has been quietly adding your entire life. You heard your own voice on a video, and something felt wrong.